be smart if you called this a day and went home.
Hello humans, I am the master of snake style, Ophidian.
And I am only here because the prophecy foretold it.
And we are Closet Champion. And we are Closet Champion, maker of masks and gear and pretty much all things wrestling related.
Ophidian does the wrestling with his body in the performing and teaching form.
Yeah.
I write wrestling music and have composed for wrestling video segments. I have even done some wrestling of the performing variety, and that was a side quest that I should not have involved my feeble Victorian orphan form in.
She loves to remind us
Wrestled.
all that she has done a single wrestle and was great at it.
Insert clip of me USA punching you in the face. And this is the thread count.
A video series where I show wrestlers to Kate, who she has never seen before, and we talk about their fashion.
I will perhaps judge it on arbitrary categories using a point system based on total nonsense. With that being said, now that you've all been reminded that I did once wrestle, it's time to give me the knowledge I probably should have had before I tried to enter a wrestling ring. Show me them wrestlers.
We are beginning our thread count journey with Gorgeous George.
I know that name. That's not Gorgeous George. Right?
That is not Gorgeous
No.
George.
That's
This is
his
part of his
butler.
entrance, though.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get various footage of Gorgeous George because of the time period that he, was performing in, which is the 40s and 50s. Obviously, you can tell by the footage that we're in the old-timey zone. So you see a silhouette being escorted by
That's like
police
5,
or Marines.
6 police, 4 police.
Gorgeous George was a massive heel in this era.
And that's why he's got police with him. Ooh. The luxury. That is like... Wait, is his trim on the robe ostrich feathers too?
On the bottom.
Jesus. That's an expensive robe. Also, what is that silhouette? Are you like a clown from the 1800s? Like, what are you?
He's the top of fashion.
Wow. Yeah, who cares about you? Look at your dumb jacket. You're nothing compared to this guy. Oh, well, this is unfortunate. That robe that I just saw him in was like so beautiful, and it was like, you could tell it was satin, so you knew it was soft, and the fluffy ostrich feathers.
Part of the marketing for him was how beautiful of a man he was. I don't know if I'd say that he's one of the most beautiful men on the planet.
Yes,
but
he's just sort of a guy. He's a guy with blonde hair, which like, sure.
But he had the attitude and the persona to go with it. He was also one of pro wrestling's very first television stars.
This one on the right is unfortunate. Like, that's such a mess.
Go ahead, speak about it.
It's like, it looks like a hospital muumuu with like a Party City boa around the neck. Like, what is happening there? Yeah, what does he wear when he's not,
Gorgeous
he's
George
not in,
is,
like,
he's a...
regular trunks. But that's pretty normal for this time. He does have fancy shoes. Like, his wrestling shoes are, like, decorated. They're black and white with the lacing. Like, he's bought into the rest of the gimmick as much as he could reasonably within this time period.
Yes. Also, just look at his hair.
Yeah, that's coiffed. That's coiffed. Like, that's like a whole... He had to go to a salon to get that done, like, every week in order for that to stay in like that. Like, when you... So this is in an era where women would go to the salon every week or whatever to get their hair set in rollers in a specific pattern, because like you would get it set by them, and then over the week you would pin curl it yourself at home. So this is a regimen of hair care that is dedicated, extremely dedicated. It's it's luxury. Look how much time he has to do his hair. Clearly he is a man of status. Do I understand what he is? Obviously. Well, no, in this picture. This unfortunate cousin of the rest of his stuff. This is a mess. Yeah, I mean, he's regal. He's fancy. He's luxurious.
He
Totally
comes off as somebody that believes he's better than you. By the way he holds himself, the way he holds his chest up, his head up, the way he looks, right? He clearly a man that comes from money and assumed in pro wrestling right? It's that idea if you come from money, it almost automatically makes you a villain. There's very few professional wrestling characters that are...
That's just the way it is, my
Yeah.
friends. That's just the truth of life. That's just... I mean, he came out flanked by 4 policemen, so clearly he is the enemy. Do I like it? Yes, obviously I like it. Is it ridiculous for this time period? It's 5 peppers spicy. This is the spiciest. The flavor is immaculate.
Now the real question is, does Gorgeous George fall for the thread count?
No. Gorgeous George is victorious. For sure.
I started this off pretty early in professional wrestling with fashion. We were in the 1940s and 50s. Now we're jumping ahead. Right, we're going in the 70s and 80s with the exotic Adrian Street. So the exotic Adrian Street is credited with being the first exotico in the British scene and in America.
What is going on in the head and
Let's
face?
start with the hair. The
I was gonna say, like, where do I
feathers.
begin with what is happening? Okay, so I'm not super familiar with exoticos outside of like Cassandra. Like, I don't know any exoticos in Mexico, so I don't know if there are references here maybe visually that I don't understand.
What I like looking at this picture over here is that you can see an evolution of something like a Gorgeous George gimmick
Yes.
into what would, a decade or 2 later, become a character like Adrian Street.
Yeah. It's almost giving me Mummers vibes. I don't understand why there's a red lip with this. Like, unless the red lip is always his thing, like, why wouldn't you wear purple lipstick with this outfit? I know there was purple lipstick in this time period because you would have just used purple grease paint. So why... It's like it goes out of its way to look not good.
It's visually jarring.
Yes.
But that, in my opinion, because
I
I
feel
love
like-
gaudy, I love over-the-top looks from pro wrestling, and this, you will remember.
I feel like I'm looking at a CAPTCHA device. Like, it's just like garbled pieces of things sort of like processed together, and this question is like asking me, are you a robot? And I don't know if I can say yes or no. I understand that this gimmick is, I'm speaking as the queer person of between the two of us. My husband is straight and I am bisexual, out and proud for many years now, like 15 years. So I understand this is supposed to look gay. I'm not confused as to how the queer coding going on here. This looks exactly like what a straight man thinks a gay person looks like. Like, you'd be like, I have to look like an exotic bird. Like, there's all that, like, I have to look like a fancy predator.
I have to project as loud as I can.
Yeah, like, I'm a fancy predator. This is fancy predator all the way. We didn't even talk about the facial hair, man. Like, this is another rigorous, demanding, like, you have to, look how smooth the chin is. The tusks are they look like those little, like, pipe cleaner worms that are all over the internet now.
I love it. I love gaudy, ugly, over-the-top wrestling outfits, and this is...
Yeah, and fashion, the rule is take something away, and in wrestling, the rule is add just more stuff. Just more is more. Less is not more in wrestling gear. More is more. You want glitter, it's stripes, it's all the things on top of all the things. I think the reason probably I don't like this so much is because it's all the things I don't like about what we are asked to do for our jobs. Like, it's all the things that I don't like.
Yeah.
I just see every crappy design that we've been sent that I've either had to make or had to find some way around to make. Like, I just see all of it in this.
We've really put a beating on the exotic Adrian Street.
I didn't mean to.
Does he fall for the thread count?
He's just disqualified. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to say. Yeah, he does. He falls. I have fallen because of the processing that I needed to capture my feelings about the exotic Adrian Street.
No, I don't want to talk about performers that are in the scene today. So I wanted to do Gold Dust next, and I felt that was the next evolution of what these gimmicks were. But he's still an active performer today. So I went in a completely different direction instead and chose Sensational Sherri.
I know who Sensational Sherri is, I think.
So we're going to throw it to the time period where she was managing the Macho Man, Randy Savage, first.
Ooh. Wow. When you said she was a manager, I assumed that she would have worn like, I don't know what I assumed a manager would
What a
wear.
manager wears.
But instead she's wearing like a burlesque wedding dress.
Yeah, it's great. I
Like,
love all the tassels, especially the belly
fringe.
tassels.
I
too.
like that they
The
put the
fringe.
fringe on it because part of Macho Man's like extravagance is he has the fringe and it adds so much of what I think the Muppets call like static movement. Like it adds more life to
It adds
whatever.
volume to it, right?
Yeah.
Like there's,
And it makes you look at the person. It makes you look at them. And the fact that it's beaded, that's expensive. Yeah, it looks like a wedding dress to me. Like it really does look like a wedding dress. I don't know if that's part of her insult to Miss Elizabeth.
During this time period, she also would don a lot of face paint and things like that. And this specific scene doesn't have it. I wanted to go with like two different looks of hers in this time period, but this being something that is just pure, I guess, elegance, right?
Look at her hair.
Just her being top level, hot, wonderful, sensational Sherri.
Yeah, it's very wrestling to be like biceps. I got them.
Yeah.
Don't forget. That's what armbands are for. They're like, don't forget I have biceps. Just got dollar signs on your face. That other look was so elegant.
Well, this one definitely, it's big. It's gaudy. That giant sleeve on her arm, it's almost like a capelet.
It's like a cape that like is like, it's very disco.
She's got a spider web on her forehead, the giant glitter
Yeah, it's like
eye
swirls.
makeup.
I like that none of it matches. Like it's not symmetrical at all. It's just drawing with a glitter pencil. It's just drawing all over your face. More is more. I think it's rhinestones.
On her face?
Yeah, I think she has rhinestones underneath her eyebrows.
Yeah.
Dang, that's effort. Whoa, she's like a sexy alien. Wow. It's like medical almost. It looks almost gross. Like
The cutouts?
yeah, it looks like blood that's like, you know, like when blood starts like going, like it's dripping away and it leaves the pools in between. Like it looks like that. I love it, honestly. Like it's very sequined, but it's like gruesome to look at.
I love that the eye makeup matches the way that the gold sequin and all that comes in.
Yeah.
The way she fades the outside colors in with the red inside. It's
And
all good.
the big blushes, which is very 80s, it works really well with like the red and everything. This is a great look. It looks like burlesque costumes, all of her stuff. It looks like burlesque and showbiz. I wouldn't say it's high class because it no longer looks fancy when you're wearing a ton of stuff. Like this dress could look like a perfectly fine evening gown if she wasn't wearing glitter face paint.
Tiara.
And a tiara. And this like crazy cut contour that makes her look like an evil queen, which I honestly super dig. I actually love all of that. It's like Egyptian almost. This like eyeliner connected to eyebrow.
Yeah, it has that like eye of horse, eye of Ra kind of shape to it.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I love this. We need more fancy ladies.
Ridiculousness level.
Well, based on this red guy alone, I would say, yeah, there are several peppers in the place.
She brought a very unique fashion to professional wrestling in her time period.
She elevated it. She took the chaos of like the wrestling stuff, like this look with the black gloves and the black eyebrow makeup situation. Like I love that. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's great. I like it.
Do you understand what she is on first sight?
If you said she was a manager and I saw this red situation, I would expect one thing. And if you said she was a manager and I saw this black thing, I would expect another thing. I'm gonna say yes, simply because I like the distinction between the different things, while she always looks like herself. Like it's always the Sensational Sherri version of whatever is happening, and I like that.
Does Sensational Sherri fall for the thread count?
No, of course not. She would never.
So we've gotten the wrestlers out of the way that Kate doesn't know. And now we're going to talk about a wrestler that we do know very well. So this next performer as somebody that we've made more than just gear for. We've also made their theme music as well.
I completely forgot that I made their theme too. Yes, today we're going to be talking about still life with Apricots and Pears. The first non-binary champion in wrestling. We are lucky enough to be costuming Still Life since the beginning of their journey as a professional wrestler. So whilst we're probably not going to show you all of the sets we've made them, we will be showing you like the more recent things that I think take a little bit more, that they have evolved and they were intended to be a canvas. So we made them very simple gear that was white and meant to eventually be drawn on. So that was the initial intent for the character, but as Still Life progressed, the concept of being a painting became less literal and more figurative. We initially designed it so that the white could be painted on by Still Life. That this was originally going to be white gear that they were going to paint with the non-binary pride colors. And I bought the white fabric and I cut out, so we like decided on a system of how we were gonna do it so that the gear could still look right, because we have these gold outlines that are to serve as the frame for the painting. This entire thing is about creating this very like Baroque, Nouveau, Art Nouveau frame for Still Life, the painting.
So what we did was we cut out the base pieces of the gear and then gave them the Still Life. That way they could be painted first before we added all the gold detail.
We actually, I had to partially construct it just with basting stitches, so that way the like seam of the shoulder would line up with wherever the paint ended up. But when they painted the fabric, it didn't have the effect that either of us wanted to go with. So we ended up using this tie-dye hologram fabric that the base of it was tie-dyed, and then it has purple holographic foil all printed all over it. And I created the depth of the applique by using 2 different shades of gold. And yeah, I think it turned out really nicely.
Keeping up with that theme that the gear that they are wearing is the picture frame, you know, for the art that is Still Life. The eyes specifically are a frame. If you look at the corners and the gold applique and the way that we shaped it, Still Life's eyes very much become the art inside of the frame.
Yeah, I had to make the pattern for those eyes multiple times because of the way that when you cut something open, the vinyl like that, it stretches apart in a different way. So I had to make multiple. We actually still have multiple pieces of this mask lying around our house because we don't make things perfectly the first time. Like there's a certain amount of trial and error required.
There's one of the leftover eyes and one of the leftover mouths. This being too big, this being a bit too small. The base fabric had great detail on it. We didn't really need to add anything to that, and it matched the applique that we made for the neck and the wrists pretty well. Yeah, it was a great move to go in the open eye direction for Still Life. It added a lot of depth to the character. It gives you the ability to connect with the person that is behind the mask in a way that you can't if their eyes are covered.
The fabric that we used for Still Life's mask is actually the same fabric that my mask is made out of. My lucha mask that I am, my glam lucha mask, and they were inspired by my mask, and specifically we had to I remember you working very hard to place the mask pattern so that this tiny scrap of this fabric that was no longer available could be used for...
We had only enough to make a mask, but we really had to use just the scraps of this material because we no longer have access to it.
Sometimes that happens though. I mean, fabric dealers only make fabric for a certain amount of time, and once that fabric's gone, sometimes it's just gone. So a lot of things that I assumed would be reorderable as I started making wrestling gear, I realized that if you like something, you should get it right then as much as you think you'll ever need, basically, because you never know if you're going to be able to find it again. I think that displays the uniqueness of Still Life as a piece of art.
It does.
It's this thing that we'll never be able to find again. It's extremely rare.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Still Life with Apricots and Pears gear design,
does it stand victorious or does it fall for the thread count? You decide, you tell us at home in the comments down below. So that's it for this edition of the thread count. We went over Gorgeous George Exotic Adrian Street, Sensational Sherri, and Still Life with Apricots and Pears. We'd love to hear your opinions on all of these characters down in the comments below. Let us know if you believe their fashion stands victorious or falls for the thread count.
I hope you enjoyed watching me watch other stuff, and I hope you'll join us next time. Bye, humans. If you don't already, please follow us on social media. I am Kate Nix on Twitter and Instagram.
And I'm at Ophidian Cobra across all social media. Be sure to like and subscribe to this Closet Champion YouTube channel. And if you want more Closet Champion, visit us over at patreon.com/Closet Champion, where you can join for as little as $2 a month and gain access to our Discord.
Yes, it's basically us inviting you to a permanent house party that's got about 100 people in it.
Yeah.
Thank you to all these people whose names are around us, by the way. They're the people you'll be hanging out with on the Discord.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see what our cat threw.